Hi and welcome to The Winning Factor. I'm Alan Aitken, and on this show each week we take a look at some upcoming races in Hong Kong and we try to isolate an element of the event that we might look back on later as having been a path to finding the winner. Well, racing on Sunday this week, and the first race we're going to look at is race 4, where our winning factor is the 3-year-old. And this Class 4 has quite a few chances. I think there'll be plenty of fans for Armour Star dropping back in class here. The 3-year-old, Seasons Bliss, who's shown promise in 2 starts. Joel Moreira's ride, Green Envy, this time from a better barrier draw. And Thunderstrike, another lightly raced 3-year-old who also should appreciate an inside gate. And I do think Zach Purton's ride here, Armour Star, is going to get plenty of attention from punters. And we're going to have a look at the last time that he raced in this class, Class 4. And we go back to very early in the season. This is in September and race number 43. And you see him, he's drawn in, Joe Moreira aboard this time in yellow colours. And he goes to the front fairly quickly here, but in a slow tempo, as you see on the heat map. Halfway through the race, around the 700 metres, he picks up the speed and then scoots away in the straight. Never really looks like being caught, and getting home in some slick sectionals. And that was his second 1400 metre win in 5 starts at that stage of his career. Now at that stage, Armour Star was looking a lightly raced horse himself with a bit of upside, but things went wrong after that. As his subsequent start, he bled in a race, then went for a break, and since he came back in Class 3, things haven't really worked out for him. I think he'll be a lot more dangerous here from an inside draw down in class to Class 4 and with Purton aboard. But I do want to focus here on one of the 3-year-olds, Seasons Bliss. Let's take a look at his latest appearance. This is in race 654, a recent run, and he's in white and dark blue stripes here. He's in no hurry early for Chad Schofield, and he settles in the back half of the field over 1200 metres. You can see on the heat map the pace just average here, and then ticks up with a little sprint home down the straight. And Seasons Bliss gets held up briefly at the top of the straight and then launches in the final stages. After getting clear, he runs on strongly, but the winner has just too much of a break on him. So that made it 2 good runs at 1200 metres from as many starts for Seasons Bliss, and his finishing speed over the final 400 metres that day was bettered by only one horse at the program, and that was Killer Bee, and we've seen what he's done since. And Killer Bee, also a 3-year-old, Courier Wonder, Fantastic Treasure, Winner Method, also Carroll Street. We're seeing a succession of these highly promising 3-year-olds at the back end of the season. And I think Seasons Bliss gets his chance on the weekend to join that group. And the 3-year-olds, certainly in the second half of the season, often the ones to follow. If we take a look at this table, you can see the record of, firstly, all 3-year-olds during the current season. And they do tend to play more of a part after New Year, especially if we look at the second table here, which deals only with Southern Hemisphere 3-year-olds like Seasons Bliss. As they get closer to being 4-year-olds and grown-ups, this is a group that consistently punches above expectations. Now, if there's a negative for Seasons Bliss going up to what looks a more suitable 1400 metres on the weekend, it is the map. So let's take a look at how this race sets up. And the speed in it looks to be Casa de Forca and Glenealy Generals coming across from wider out in the draw, and it certainly won't surprise if Armour Star this time, instead of leading, lets them go and takes a sit behind them. And without the crazy pace, the tempo might be fairly similar to the last race Seasons Bliss ran in. Just an average pace, followed by an uptick in the run down the home straight. But like Killer Bee in last week's effort, I think Seasons Bliss has the acceleration that he showed in that last start to get himself out of a tricky map. So in race 4, the tip, Seasons Bliss, his winning factor, the 3-year-old. The 3-year-olds are a group that punch above their weight in the second half of the season. He certainly looks a horse on the way somewhere, and I think that gives him the edge in this race. The other race I want to take a look at is race 10, and our winning factor here, the map. Now this is a class 2. The standout runner is the John Size trained 4-year-old Sight Success, a winner of 3 from 4. But as I said, this is class 2, so they all have some talent, and I'm sure there will be some fans keen on the chances of horses like Lucky Patch, Trillion Win, All in Mind, and also When You Believe down the bottom of the weights. And I guess punters could be a little bit gun shy of Sight Success after he was beaten last start at short odds, albeit with the vet troubles. But I thought we'd take a look at the horse we had seen in his early starts and look at his most recent win. And this is going back 2 starts ago. And this is in race 373 in January. Sight Success in the brown and white colours. Now, he's drawn out here, but Morera gets him out quickly, crosses the field without really having to work too hard, as you can see on the heat map. And then after balancing up on the circle, Sight Success is sent clear by Morera at the 250. And look at the sectionals that he's running. He's got a red zone down to the line, and those behind him can't match him, let alone better him, and he is a very comfortable winner in class 3. Now, I don't think he's going to be overlooked in this race by any means, Sight Success. I think most punters will arrive at him as the most likely winner, and I guess the one thing that looks tricky at first glance is that he's drawn barrier 10 in a harder race than we saw him dictate in January. So I thought we'd look at that as the main factor in the race, whether he can overcome that sticky draw. And the more I look at the map, the more I think, is it really much of a problem? There isn't mad speed on the inside, but Trillion Win is certainly fast enough to keep the front in front of Sight Success if he wants it, and that might even suit Joe Morera. Let Trillion Win do the donkey work, getting around the ones on the inside, seeing off any other contenders for the lead early, and then Sight Success moves up and settles outside him. If there is a contest for the lead, I think that Morera then can make the decision to cross over behind the fast horses competing for the front, and he still gets a great run. Meanwhile, a couple of his major rivals, All in Mind and When You Believe, I don't think they have the weapons to overcome their double-figure draws, and they are the ones really with the sticky problems at the start. So the tip in race 10, Sight Success. His winning factor, the map. I certainly don't think Sight Success's talent is a secret, and he's likely favourite here, but I think a close look at the map there shows that it's not going to be a problem for him, but it might be a problem for some of his rivals and make his job easier. Well, that's it from the winning factor for this week. Good luck on Sunday. We'll see you next time.